Hello and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders, episode 159 for July 28th, 2015. My name is FlutterGuy317. I am apparently this week's organizer, possibly the editor, media manager of the Cutie Art Crusaders, and today I am joined by...
Brno, the special guest coordinator.
And I'm Atmospark. I'm the questions guy.
Hey...
Hello.
Hi.
So we're missing one.
Also, we're missing the Max. The Maximus.
Poor guy has got his wisdom teeth out.
He got the teeth pulled out of his face.
Sucks to be him.
Yep.
He's now not as smart.
I know. Yeah, he's got he sent us a picture and he's got gauze stuffed in his face.
Yeah, he's got the puffy face.
Yeah.
He's got
and he unfortunately asked us not to put it on the podcast, so we're sorry.
Yeah,
but
didn't say anything about Twitter.
It's hilarious.
It's somewhere. Internet go.
Yeah. Look in the links below.
Yeah. Poor guy.
He's like 4 less wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he does play D&D, so, that kind of hurts his... Wow.
Feel better, Max. We love you.
At least he gets to, eat ice cream or cold things.
Yeah, I didn't get any when I had mine pulled.
That sucks.
My headcanon is that ice cream just doesn't exist in Australia. It's just too hot there.
Yeah, does it melt instantly?
We had ice cream yesterday. Me and Silver got ice cream yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's cold here at the moment. It's would have been 15 degrees-ish at that time we had ice cream. And by the time we got to the finishing it was all liquid.
Jeez.
I partly know the fact that it's kind of cold down there, but at the same time, it's just weird to think about,
It's not that.
I know
for
it's not
you guys,
freezing,
yeah,
but it's still is colder than it is here, and that's weird to think about.
Yeah. I guess it's a record all-time low down there, or something like vortex things, and
yeah.
Yeah, we got Antarctic vortex.
When you weren't here, we were joking about Australians playing with snow. Because there were some pictures on Reddit.
Yeah.
The kangaroo in the snow.
That's got to be so weird.
It was an hour and a half, 2-hour drive from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
It's the snow, not the place.
Maybe we can get Max some snow, and he can just eat that.
Can we make it yellow?
No. Lemonade snow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
See, now I'm just picturing you guys in Australia having a tub of ice cream, and you take a scoop of it with a spoon, and by the time it reaches your mouth, it's just like
That's pretty accurate, actually.
Melted. Really?
That's fairly accurate. Yeah.
Wow. I'm sorry then.
We have, I think you guys call it Cold Stone. We've got a place called Cold Rock with smash ice cream and bits of stuff into it. And stuff. You have that? That's a thing?
Yep. Yeah. That's a thing.
We had that yesterday, and it just melted pretty much straight away. Yeah. It's funny because I'm always able to eat it before it completely goes everywhere, but Silver's not.
Nice. So speaking of you guys, you went to Bali, or however you pronounce it, a couple of weeks ago, and we touched on it last week, but we didn't really talk about what you did there and what you saw, and we didn't really give it
cool stuff.
The time.
It was we did a few temples.
Yeah,
lots of animals. There's photos of all the time it happened, but there were 6 or 7 Balinese animals just jumped on my head. Not at the same time, over the 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's cool.
Stuff like civets.
You got to hold a parrot too,
birds.
Didn't you?
Many parrots.
Yeah,
many birds.
That's cool.
Birds love my piercing.
The little shiny bit.
Sees it. Yeah, they go straight for my ear and try and eat it.
We used to have a little parakeet, cockatiel, other little small bird, and it would always mess with my mother's earrings or her rings and stuff. Shiny thing, give me it. Nom 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 nom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was reach over and try and pull it out of my ear. Because it's an industrial bar, so it's a long one, so it's really long and shiny.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine a giant macaw just picking at your ear bar wouldn't be a pleasant thing.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a giant macaw.
Wow.
Just trying to eat my ear. And
hopefully it was nibbling at it and not this is mine now. Arr.
See,
yeah, he was just nibbling at it.
Yeah. I'm imagining him like having that not attached to your ear and like lifting it like weights.
I just got a mental picture of just Joel being carried away by a giant macaw. Like, no! It's got me here.
You did get carried away by an eagle at one point, right? So like that's not a far stretch.
True.
So
yeah, but like bike rides through the countryside and visiting temples and all sorts
that's
of stuff.
cool. What's the climate? Is it like jungle like or
yeah, rainforesty. It's tropical,
okay.
So
yeah,
kind of rainforesty, jungly, hot, humid.
Indonesia's very small island like culture, right?
It's a bunch of islands. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's a whole bunch of islands. Bali's one of the medium-sized ones.
Yeah. So you guys went and saw temples and volcanoes and stuff?
Yeah. A volcano.
That's cool.
It had erupted in the past, but not at the time that we were there. There was a volcano on the other island, which was erupting and disrupting flights in and out. So everyone was like, getting stuck and not getting there, etc., etc.
Yeah, because like
causing a whole lot of havoc.
You ended up having to delay your flight because of that, right?
Yeah, we got turned around halfway there on the first time. Like, we were meant to go there on the Saturday. We got on the plane, flew halfway,
Man.
and they said, okay, we can't land, so we're turning around and going back. And then the next flight they could reschedule us on was 3 days later. So we got on a plane then and actually ended up getting to Bali that time.
Wow. You would think that like they would think about that before you actually take off, so you're not like wasting time in the air.
Yeah.
Just like
6 hours flight.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy though. It's like, sorry, but your flight has to be rerouted due to volcano activity.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool.
So we started turning around like in the air and everyone was like, okay, where are we going? And then the pilot came on and said, yeah, sorry guys, we have to go back to Brisbane. And we're like, oh.
Jeez.
Really?
Like, just 3 hours around that? Like, you think you're
because
the plane.
The ash cloud was over the airport.
So over Bali Airport. Okay.
Yeah.
I could see how they couldn't have like the foresight for that though. You know, like maybe the wind blew the ash over the airport when it wasn't going to go there or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the winds are really erratic, so sometimes it was there, sometimes it wasn't, etc.
Weird.
Well, I think because it's an island, like that's kind of expected that the winds are going to be shifting constantly.
Yeah.
Because you got this wide open space all around you. So.
Yeah.
Huh. Although I guess it's not like, you know, oh, the volcano's erupting now, but, you know, in 3 hours when we're going to the island, then it's not going to be, it's like...
Exactly.
There's
it's a 6 hour flight. Everything can change in 6 hours.
Yeah. Well, at least you had a fun trip.
Yeah, we still got there in the end.
I saw you guys got sunburned.
Oh, so sunburned.
Yeah. And then you get to come home to like, cold Brisbane or Gold Coast or...
Yeah, it was, got on the plane, it was like 27 degrees in Bali afternoon, and then got back to Brisbane, and it was like 6.
Yeah.
So we got off and went, oh god, it's cold.
Nice. Cool. Well, we're glad to be back for the second week in a row. And I'm glad that we got to talk about that a little bit more, because I think we didn't really do it justice last week, and it's really cool that you got to go there and see things and interact with animals and wildlife.
Yeah,
and rocks.
It was good fun. Rocks.
We'll get to the rocks. But I think
stay tuned for that exciting segment.
Hey, I think we should probably jump right into the art now. We will, after the art, we will also have another reminder about our panel, and we'll announce some of the prizes that you can win if you attend and ask questions.
Me.
Yeah. So, art.
Yeah. No, I mean, you could win me.
Oh, you could win, Joel.
So, because I'm not going to be there, so I have to be shipped to you, but...
Yeah. Express
if
overnight.
If you're willing to pay for that, I'm happy to
shipping and handling not included.
Yeah. It's like, well, now what am I going to do with this guy? Like, he's in Australia. Like,
you either got to come get me, or you got to ship me to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyhow.
Okay. Art, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So I chose this one. It's called Pinky Splash by Pmanda1446. It's pinky. It's watercolor. I believe. No, digital watercolor.
Yeah. It's a representation of a watercolor.
Yeah. But it looks almost like real watercolor. Yeah, that's why I picked it. But it's kind of weird, abstract, and everything's weird, and I don't know. I can't think of how to describe just how it is. It's just so weird.
It's very surreal in certain areas. Yeah.
Her face sticks out.
Yeah, I know. It's great. I like the kind of the variation in the splotchiness of her mane. It's interesting. It's a neat touch, and like it just kind of adds to the chaos of the piece.
Yeah, that's sort of why I think I liked it, because it's just so, like, the legs aren't attached to her body. Her body's not attached to her head and itself, and there's legs going everywhere, and this giant thing of hair just coming out in front of her. And
is this a result of her messing with the mirror pool? Like, this is what happens when you mess with the reality of things.
When two things jump in at the same time.
Yeah.
Like if two pinkies jump in the pool at the same time, they'll come out looking like this.
Oh, it's like that fly, like the fly.
The human fly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Simpsons episode.
Yeah. I mean, there was a movie that it was based on, but yeah.
Yeah. But I think one of the Simpsons episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Bart fly.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like the texture that they used on it. It makes it look like it's actually done on some sort of stock paper.
Yeah. And I've put like that yellow brown color watercolors all over everything.
Yeah.
Like that, like the brown wash. Yeah, that sounds gross.
Wow.
It's like almost like sepia.
Yeah.
Just over the whole thing and then painted on it.
Yeah. Her face is just it gets me every time.
Jarring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just so crazy looking.
Yeah.
Bern, what do you got to say about this?
No, I think it's pretty cool as well. Like, it's really wonky, but in a good way. Like you were talking about with like the limbs like not attached and like not being drawn. Like,
yeah.
Like the artist, like I would have thought that it was traditional, but the artist said, like right in the description, like messing around with digital watercolors.
I initially thought traditional because it looks traditional, so he's done a really good job at that.
So so the things are like intentionally made to look watery or intentionally made to look look traditional. So like you have areas in which like the paint would have like blended into the paper or whatnot. So like if you look at the hair, parts of or like her little bangs, it's going way off to the left of the piece.
Yeah.
You'll notice parts of it are outlined, and then parts of it are outlined, and the like water pigment like blends into like the paper around it. And then it's the same for her kind of like limbs. Like some of them are kind of like faux, like shaded or painted in, and then some of them aren't. So like her back right leg or the leg on our left, like on the ground, like it's just not connected to a hip. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
And so it's very crazy and like free flowing. So it's like, it's cute because it's like to the spirit of Pinkie Pie, but then in this kind of like faux water medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
on
interesting.
That paint blending thing, you can see it in sort of her tail as well, where that grassy area that she's on blends through her tail like it's translucent.
Yeah. It's interesting that they also included these white highlights, like if you were to use a gel pen with watercolor, which I know a lot of watercolor artists will do, to kind of give it a little bit more of a definition, like some more 3D specular highlights on there, which it's really cool. It's like it's sticking in the principles of like traditional watercolor, but digitally.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the face.
I don't even know what's going on with the background. It's like just on our right hand side, there's that sort of mountain thing going on, but that's the entire background.
Yeah,
it's just like you get a mountain there.
Yeah, you get this like weird sense of depth, but there's nothing there to like other than that mountain to make you think that. It's like I can see that there's just that one sort of mountain thing there, but I can imagine this whole sort of vast plain area behind it. Like it's almost in like this brown fog, because the way that the grass on the left hand side and the right hand side actually sort of blend out into this brown fog.
Yeah.
So it looks like she's standing on like this tip of this really foggy mountain, and that's the only thing in the background that comes above it.
Huh.
It's weird. Anyway, that's how my mind works.
That's cool.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about this. Gosh, I don't remember when, but when the piece that you chose to feature, Fluttershy, with like Fluttershy sitting on this little plane of glass by Husi, I believe it was. And it's kind of the concept of a character being placed on something or grounded on something. So like Pinkie Pie is standing on this little like plane of grass that looks like it's kind of free floating and looks like it has a little edge of a cliff or something in front of it, but it places Pinkie Pie somewhere, right? So like you were talking about, Joel, it's just like this big vastness of something, whether it's a plane or like misty, whatever the heck it is. She exists though in space, and then our mind associates some kind of space behind her because she's grounded on something, and then there's a mountain behind her, right? So like if we took the grass away, it would just be a weird funky drawing of Pinkie Pie. But when the artist puts her on the grass, now that does something completely different, and it's a crazy Pinkie Pie standing like on grass in an environment, especially with like a little mountain behind there and like what appears to be clouds above her that are very subtle.
Yeah. I was going to say that mountain really adds kind of a different dimension to the piece. Like you were mentioning that Fluttershy piece where she's just kind of standing on or sitting on the piece of grass there. And I think if that mountain wasn't there in this piece, you would kind of get the same effect where it's like Pinkie's in space, but like it's still a fairly flat piece. But just by sticking that little simple shape that we assume is a mountain in the background, it almost gives it depth. A little bit more. This kind of reminds me of like the Japanese wall paintings.
I get that same feeling, partly because the tone of the paper and color, and then the like kind of little random mountain. But I totally had that same feeling.
Yeah. It's just Pinkie's in there for some reason. It's like, I can just imagine some like ancient Japanese artist like creating this nice thing, and all of a sudden Pinkie Pie pops up in his piece. It's like, what the heck? I like it. I like the inclusion of the cutie mark too.
Yeah, up on the top left.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find that Fluttershy piece. Do you know where it was?
I don't know. It's by Husi. So
I'm gonna put it in the favorites folder.
Okay.
I suppose you can cut this.
I suppose so.
No, I've got no idea. How far back was it?
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry.
Okay. It's also interesting that like there's also some clouds in the background too that you don't really notice at first, because it's like it looks like just different tones of the paper, but they're actually kind of do have a bit of shape to them, just because like there's shading on the underside of them, and not shading on the top of them.
Yeah.
I was going to mention the composition's kind of cute too, because instead of having like Pinkie Pie be like the focus, you kind of have Pinkie Pie on the right hand side, and then her bangs like take up the entire left hand side of the picture. And how her bangs like kind of flow and then get larger makes it seem like it's coming forward to me, if that makes sense. So like it looks like her bang like bangs off to the left or like is like physically closer than Pinkie Pie is. It's like it's kind of coming at us almost, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. The artist was saying he was experimenting with Pinkie using her hair as a fifth hoof. Where she does that thing where she carries something in her hair.
It's like an anime superpower at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, she's whipping her hair back and forth. Yeah.
I'll whip my hair back and forth. Right.
Yeah, basically.
Please cut that out.
No way. That's staying in. It's kind of crazy how like long it is, how long he made her bang out to be.
I like it. I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's very expressive.
Yeah.
In addition to her face.
Such a Pinkie thing to do. Like, have weird parts of her body just extrapolated and made huge.
Yeah. And that's a disjointed from the rest of her.
But I feel like every character has something that accentuates them. Like Rainbow Dash has her wings, obviously. Fluttershy, I'm not sure. But Twilight has her magic, also possibly wings. And Rarity has the hair.
Yeah.
Applejack has the hat.
Yeah.
and stuff that just makes them them, and Pinky's is her hair because it's all pink and fluffy like fairy fluff.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. All right. So I think we should probably move on to the next piece, which is Burned.
Sweet. So the piece I chose for this week is called The Dock by Joelle, right? Joelle the Nose? Joella? Joella the Nose, I think. So it's like...
Or Joelle.
Joelle the Nose.
Joelle the Nose? Something along those lines. But this piece is really cute, and I enjoy it. And I picked it because of the color choice in it, or just basically just its colors. Its color palette, I guess would be a good way to put it. And I just felt like the violets and oranges and stuff were very pretty, very serene, and it's just like the character as well, Octavia sitting there on the dock, just felt really well illustrated. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And I don't know if we featured this artist yet, but I've been watching this artist for quite a while, and there's definitely some pieces that are very cute in her gallery. Yep.
Yeah. I really like the colors in this piece. Like you were saying, it's really interesting choices, including the lighting, like the lighting on Octavia, because she's pretty much a neutral gray if you look at her in standard white light. But this is more of a portrayal of either sunrise or sunset, I'm guessing. And with these like orange clouds above her, she's kind of reflecting this orangey, purpley goodness from above.
Yeah, like that concept of kind of like orange and yellow. What is it? Blue and orange, and then like violet and yellow, or as complements. Like orange and violet still kind of really like reflect off each other, right? Or like bounce off of each other. So like the color harmony in this is really cool and nice, because it's predominantly like violet, like purple, right? And so there's a lot of like very muted purples and violets on like the dock and then the tree line there. And then you have this really bright incorporation of like red and yellow and blue and orange up in like the sky and the clouds there, which then affect everything else in the picture. So it's like the tone of this lake and the scene is kind of like nighttime and cooler, or like sunset, right?
It's sunset.
Yeah, I'd say it's like sunset, and everything's kind of like a cool and colder violet. But then you have this very bright like red and orange that now come from the sky and then reflect on everything and then change it, which creates this really kind of cool and romantic effect when it bounces off of the water and like hits the dock. So like the dock is like drawn and shaded in purple and then highlighted in these kind of like reds and orange. And then Octavia is the same way. So instead of being that kind of like neutral gray tone or whatever, she's kind of like a very dark muted violet. And then she's then like highlighted and shaded using like the orange and like yellowish colors from the clouds up in the sky reflecting, right?
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, it's very cool touch. Or not, I guess cool touch is the wrong word. It's just like, it's a really cool, and it, again, cool is the wrong word. Cool, warm, blech.
Yeah.
It's an awesome addition.
It's just an awesome color scheme, I feel. Like, it's really nice when like you can look at a piece and just be like, wow, how the colors this is painted with really makes this stand out from other things. And that's why I wanted to feature this. It just feels so
natural.
Yeah. It feels natural, colorful, and like slightly romantic as well.
Well, it's also I guess the choice of areas of saturation too, because like the trees in the background, the tree line in the background is fairly desaturated, and you get this really vibrant blue and orange purpley mix in the sky, and like in the lake, the reflection of the lake too. So it's just like these areas of this very vibrant color kind of pop out, and it also goes really well together.
Well, it creates a really cool contrast too, right?
Yeah.
So you have those kind of like more muted, saturated, darker tones of like purple and violet, and then that really bright tone, and then they like contrast each other because you have, bright and not bright, or super colorful and not super colorful. So the places in which they bounce off stuff are like kind of the most interesting parts. So like the really bright sky and then it reflecting into the water like separates the kind of top edge of the dock, and then also Octavia's like silhouette from the water and stuff like that, which again is like a really, really like well thought out touch. So something, or I guess I keep saying touch, but it's the wrong term, but you know what I mean. Something else that I really enjoyed about this was the composition too, so that like the placing of Octavia like against that really bright, vivid color of the water, like how it like kind of breaks out her silhouette. It's like it's kind of a compositional choice, right? Of like where to place the character and like how the character separates from other things. So like the composition in this is really cool too, where it's like nothing's really super centered. We have the dock on the right hand side, and then Octavia kind of placed on the right hand side in kind of like that 1/3 area, and then like kind of opposed to her, or like on the opposite side of the canvas, you have the reflection of the sky like hitting the lake, like the majority of that area in there, right? Yeah. So it's just kind of like how things are laid out too is way more interesting than like a simple composition where we would just be like placed in the middle.
Yeah, so, well that's a photography thing. If you're supposed to have like the subject off to the side, not directly in the center.
Yeah. Well, there's the whole rule of thirds thing, which is not strictly followed in this piece, but I feel like that was done completely intentionally. Like I think it's kind of meant to be some sort of a photograph. Like at least that's what it looks like. But by including a little bit more of the top, like the sky is exposed a bit more, and you get more of like more interesting things, which I guess is the basis of all composition, is you want to make things interesting. So including interesting things like in your piece kind of goes above like following different rules of composition. Yeah,
because like the rule of thirds is a rule of thumb, right? And it's for photographers, and it's not like a rule you have to follow, but it's a way to make your pictures more interesting. And it's basically the concept is don't place your subject in the middle of the photo, because that makes the photo boring and purely about what's in the center of it, when you have a photo and you want your photo to be more interesting than just your basic Joe Schmo photo, you want it to be about everything in the picture. So placing a subject or something you want someone to look at off to the side or in the 1/3 areas makes it so it's not a direct thing, but it's still like in the kind of like portions of the picture, right? So it's just more pleasant to look at. So like areas in this which like compositionally look interesting to me is Octavia's looking at us, right? And that's kind of like in the center of this picture. So like Octavia's gaze is like directly centered in like the up and down portion, right? And then you have the land, like the horizon line, which is where the lake meets the trees, like that's the visible horizon line. And that's placed kind of like right above Octavia, and then the top of the dock is placed right below her, and those are about even as well. And then again, she's kind of on the 1/3 of the image, where on the other 1/3 of the image you have the those posts of the dock kind of like placed there. So everything's kind of like meticulously placed in what is like a very pretty fashion, right? And so like that's building the photo to like be an art piece, you know, versus just kind of like here's the character, just kind of huff it in there, you know.
That's really interesting, with her eyes like being centered between the horizon line and the dock line. I wouldn't even notice that until you pointed it out. It's cool
composition, right? So like there's some very cool compositional things like to go into this piece, as well as the really cool color things, which like when I first glanced at this, I was like, wow, pretty colors, and then I kind of moved along. But then when I was looking for a piece to feature this week, I kind of came back to it, and I was like, you know what, there's some really cool stuff about this.
Yeah,
it's really well done.
I wanted to talk about that.
The
visible horizon line.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out that was a really cool touch there to separate, a really good way to separate sort of what is real and what's a reflection.
Yeah.
Because if you look at this as of like, if you went to this place wherever this was, and she said it's based on somewhere she goes camping, but if you go there and take a photo, you would see that separation between the sky and the land and the reflection. It wouldn't just be like a solid piece of black with the same shape on both sides. There would be that, you can see that white, also not white, the sky orangey color, sort of stroke like line there. that would really be there in real life. It's a good that she put that in. Otherwise, you wouldn't really tell what was land and what was reflection.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a really nice touch.
And definitely like that effect happens visually too in real life.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a nice touch artistically because it separates the land from the lake. It also gives us a visible horizon line, and then like we also simulate it with what we would see like on an actual lake.
Yeah.
A small critique, something that I do actually like is how the dock is kind of like laid out and it's kind of like a flat plane and there's a bit of perspective to it. I don't know if its perspective is actually like realistic because like it doesn't meet up to a vanishing point, which isn't technically a problem because it still looks believable and it looks enjoyable, but it, you know, like my art basis or whatever wants both edges of the dock to kind of like meet up at a central point. But that being said, the visible horizon line of what we see on the lake doesn't have to be the actual like horizon line in which perspective goes to. So I technically don't know how that works artistically. It's just kind of something I notice.
Well, because like we could be pointing down, or the dock could be like angled upwards slightly, and then you have a completely different reference for where your horizon line or where the vanishing point would be for that dock.
So it's like I want to put the vanishing point of the dock right on that lake's horizon line, but then the dock would be super wide, right? It would be ridiculously wide, and then it wouldn't look as good for the composition. So I'm less worried about if that's how it's supposed to be, because I think it looks better this way. So because like the posts, how the posts kind of like there's a rhythm to them. I think the artistic term is rhythm, but it's like how they kind of mirror reflect each other and create a pattern of like 1, 2, 3 and like kind of like a perfect little steps there is again like another artistic choice that looks very nice, for lack of a better word.
I wanted to say that I think the reflection of the water in this piece is one of the best that I've seen in a lot of pony pieces that I've looked at.
Yeah.
Me too.
Just because it's very realistic of a very still lake, and you can see like even at the horizon line, like there's some mist rising, which kind of gives some realism to that whole like bright horizon there, and everything's a little bit blurred in it. It's very, very well done.
Atmospheric perspective.
Hey.
Okay. That's about all I got.
That's a thing in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So moving on.
Yeah. So the piece that I chose is called By the Field by AJVL. And I also chose this one for the colors. It shows Applejack in the field. I don't know exactly what she's doing, looking off somewhere.
Just hanging out.
Yeah. And AJVL also mentions in his description that he thinks he overdid his color a little bit. But I like it because it stands out. It's very vibrant. Yeah.
It's kind of an artsy thing to like not overdo color, right? Where it's like I want to create kind of like a visually, I don't know, realistic-y landscape to pick and choose where your most vibrant colors are, but there's also still something notable and pleasing about using very saturated colors. And it's like there's like actual things in our history which use really like saturated colors that look fantastic and are really great. So like a term we like to use is impressionistic, meaning like kind of mimicking like old impressionism stuff, where like they use very, very, very vibrant colors. And so, but I mean, that's getting a little too deep, but the point being, I would definitely say that I don't think AJVL overdid anything with the colors. I like how they're very kind of vibrant and things stand out from each other because it creates kind of like the separation of planes. And we've talked about in a couple other pieces about like Jowie Bean and stuff. So like you have the plane of the grass or the plane of the hay or whatever she's standing in that field, and then separated by the plane in the midground, which is, you know, the like the hills and the grass on the hills, and then the bushes and trees, and then again separated by the blue in the sky, and in like the very kind of like dark cloud there. And they then I think they play and reflect very nice off of each other again. You know, it's like going back to color palettes like in our last one.
Yeah. And it's interesting that it's basically split up into 3 different color groups. You have blue on the top, green in the middle, and then the yellow on the bottom.
So it starts warm and goes cold.
Yeah. Or vice versa.
Yeah, you could say it's like warm to cool. And so like kind of the oranges and yellows in the bottom are kind of like juxtaposed by kind of like the lighter blues in the background. And green, by the way, is one of those swing colors when it comes to warm to cool. Like you can have green be cool or you can have it be warm. And yellow and sometimes violet also fall under that spectrum. And then green blue as well, cyan, can also be warm or cool.
Well, it all depends on like the colors that surround it too, right?
Yep.
For the most part.
Yep.
That's why in my head this went from warm down the bottom to hot up the... warm to cool from bottom to top, because of the green by the yellow was warm and green by the blue was cold.
Yep, definitely. Because the yellow and orange make the green kind of seem warmer, but then when you look at the sky, it makes it seem cooler.
Yeah. It's not really on like an optical illusion level, but it's it plays with your brain a bit.
A little bit. But in a good way.
So it's also subjective too. So you can see it one way, you can see it another.
Yeah.
Color's fun like that.
Yeah. I like the looseness of this piece. And I know AJVL does this quite a bit, like the painterly style. And I know if Max was here, he would kill me for bringing up painterly again. But no,
painterly is my favorite thing, man.
Yeah, it's so good. I do like the fact that like he uses loose brushes and large brushes and the clouds and stuff, and even Applejack, who I don't know if like she's meant to be the focus of the piece, but she's very loosely done. There's a bit more detail in her, but
compositionally there's a bit of that 1/3 kind of going on again. She's kind of on. She's not placed right in the center. She's placed off to the side. And I guess staying on composition, there's a really cool composition to this piece where it's laid out, where there's again, I forget the word for it, but it's like it's how your eye kind of like follows things or looks at things, and there's a path in which your eye kind of follows. So again, I think the term's rhythm, but there's an interesting kind of rhythm to the lines that separate the colors and like how the planes are laid out. So in the field, so like let's start at kind of the bottom. You kind of look at Applejack and towards the bottom right, and then you'll notice that the plane, the little, the hayfield she's standing in, it goes, and like if you follow it up and to the left, it's at a diagonal angle, and then you'll hit that kind of another diagonal angle of the land, which then goes back up and goes like the other direction. So there's this zigzagging of lines going on, and again, that's kind of shown once you kind of follow the hill up, it'll hit that rock right there to the like upper right of Applejack, and then that's again another diagonal line that goes up and to the left, and then you hit the cloud, and then if you look at the cloud again, there's kind of like this little plane of gray that flows up, starting from the bottom left up to the top right. That little like white there is kind of like placed. So there's kind of like to and fro, like left and right at diagonal angles that are all like filled this piece. Nothing's real like flat and like plane. It's and using like horizontal angles. It's using like very slight vertical ones that kind of like zigzag and step up and down the piece, which like again is really, really cool, because in a lot of AJVL stuff, if you look at it, it's kind of like the characters in a field, and then it's not playing with this kind of like zigzag of planes, things, whatever.
Yeah I wonder what the term is actually for that. It could be rhythm, but I haven't really seen that in his pieces before. I'm sure like it's present, and it's not really something that you notice straight off the bat. It's kind of something that you'd have to look for.
Just notice even the path too. The path Applejack's walking on follows that same kind of rhythm, if we're going to stick with that term, where it's at another diagonal angle and then meets like her and like the grass. And I really like that. Like I gotta swear that that has to be intentional because of the effort and skill like AJVL puts into his pieces and like it's their composition.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the way the clouds are laid out, like you would think that it's intentional, because like the darker clouds do follow this like up and to the left zigzag. So it's like, well, okay, I'm sure he's doing that intentionally. Yeah, that's really neat.
Have we talked about how good Applejack is yet?
No, we haven't, but go on.
She's outstanding in her field. Yeah, I'll let that sink
Damn
in.
it, Joel. Oh my.
I can't claim that. It's a joke in the comments.
I was like, what did you just say? And like my brain had to click and then like the ears jammed and I was like, God damn it.
Worth it.
Christ.
Anyway, she's done like
good but terrible.
Yeah. She's done well, but it's almost as if she's there as sort of an afterthought. Like AJVL's done the landscape and then thought, well, I mean, obviously probably had in mind to put Applejack in it the whole time, but just sort of didn't focus on her, but focused on everything else first.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like most impressionist pieces where if you take a step back, it works, like she fits in with the rest of the piece. But if you look at her up close, like it's not as detailed as like we've seen her before. Mm-hmm. But then again, like AJVL does tend to focus on the landscape and not on the characters.
But I'd say she still fits in there. Like I wouldn't so much call her an afterthought, you know?
Yeah.
Because she's definitely intentionally...
Maybe that was a wrong choice of words, but...
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. She's definitely intentionally placed there, and, like, there's care given to where she's placed, how she's placed, like, the things around her, and, like, her color kind of stands out from other things.
Yeah, and she is reflecting light bounced off of the wheat.
Yeah, like, there's a simplicity in the way in which she's painted, but there's also a simplicity in how, like, the background's painted. And, like, there's parts of Applejack that have more care put to them than other parts in the painting and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. I think we're just used to seeing like characters given so much more detail than the background.
Yeah. That
seeing a character with basically the same amount of detail as the background is a little jarring. But I don't know. I like her, how she's done in this piece.
I enjoy the way in which she's painted.
Yeah.
Also, another nice little touch is, I was kind of looking at Applejack around her as well. You've got like little bits of hay that seem to like flow in the wind too. Yeah. And that's a very cute touch. Like that gives kind of an atmosphere to this little narrative that's going on in this picture, right? So with like the big clouds and then like the wisping stuff around her, you get kind of this very windy feel. Yeah. So like wind blowing through the hay, blowing through the field, you know.
Yeah.
Which changes the mood a bit, you know.
Yeah.
She's holding onto a hat.
I imagine her like either being in some sort of play or a musical or a movie out in a field, like Sound of Music, kind of. Yeah. But
it's more of a to me.
So the sound of wind.
Yeah.
Another cute thing I just noticed about some color in this piece is in the big cloud up above, there's little touches of orange too. So a cool thing about color is if you have two color complements, so two colors that are opposites, and you mix them together, they will create a neutral tone, meaning that they'll kind of gray each other out. And instead of seeming like opposites, they kind of slowly come together and muddle each other and create a neutral thing almost without color. But you can play with that and create very subtle tones of like an orange or very subtle tones of a blue that as they kind of mix create areas that look or appear to be gray, but they actually have color to them. So I'm looking at the cloud up above. If you notice that the kind of the highlights on the top of the cloud where like the light would hit, there's like little blotches of orange, and the kind of warmer gray tones in the top of the cloud are like muted oranges and like reds up there. But then below the cloud, it's muted blues in those gray and darker blues in those areas. But like when you look at the cloud as a whole, it just seems kind of grayish, but actually it has a very blue bottom and a very muted orange top. With little actual splotches of orange, which I really like in kind of like the rightish hand side of the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You find that in a lot of pieces that something will look like it's just one color, but if you look closer, it's like a whole bunch of colors mixed together.
Because I really like when artists do it, because like do something like that, because like that's the step above of like understanding color, right? Where especially understanding grays and like neutral midtones, where you can like beginning artists, their first step to going to like something that they want to be kind of gray or grayish is they'll grab gray, or they'll grab like a black and white and kind of like shade or try to do stuff with that, where you can get like way better grays if you use just very muted colors and like play with what they do with like their complements. So like in this piece, like orange and blue. But I do know that AJVL knows a lot about this because he's a sucker for using this type of stuff with like the orange and blue. And you see it a lot in some of his really awesome pieces where he's playing with that kind of like the orange and like blue and vice versa.
Yeah. Cool. So fantastic job. You did not overdo the colors.
Yeah.
You used them just right.
Like,
all right,
I wouldn't even say there's overdoing. There's just like different amounts and styles for what what feeling you want, you know? And so like he has some muted colors, and this one he has some brighter colors, and he has some pieces that are even brighter colors than this. Yeah. And I like all of them. They all just have different feelings.
Yep.
I like when people play with colors.
There's no such thing as too bright.
No. I mean, there is.
Nope, lies.
Pony Creator. Lies. Yeah, but that's just bright colors used badly. Bright colors in themselves aren't such a bad thing.
Yeah, that's true. All right, shall we move on to the questions?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So, I have 2 this week, if we get to them. The first one is by Son and Blitz. What are your hobbies?
Well, I'll jump into it because we were talking about it before we started recording.
All right, this is cool. Go for it.
Yeah. So I'm a software engineer. That's what I do for a job. But I actually really enjoy furthering my computer knowledge and software programming knowledge and stuff. Like, I know I'm the biggest nerd ever. But it's true. Like I get enjoyment out of being able to do things with my craft, like programming, and like being able to see results from that. So recently I've taken on a project of kind of reverse engineering the firmware in my camera to be able to like remove some restrictions that were added in and like add some features possibly in the future. It's also kind of it's a challenge, and it's a totally new thing for me to like kind of dig into something that's been written and compiled and assembled, and then like try and figure out what it's doing. So it's cool.
Fancy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Sounds intensely complicated, but it's cool.
I kind of equate it to like in the Matrix when they're looking at the code and they're like, oh yeah, this is a woman in a red dress, and it's like, yeah, it's the same kind of thing.
This is the timeout code sequence for my camera right here. Yeah. It's like, what is this?
Yeah,
what are you talking about? What is going on?
It's just a series of numbers.
You're looking at moon runes. What is this?
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of my hobbies.
That's really cool though, because it's like that's like a step and above hobby. Like that's like me oh my. Like there's so much that like knowledge and like education that has to come along like with that. And since like I don't have any of it, like I look at you and it's like you're a freaking rocket engineer, you know? Like, what's going on here? It's crazy.
Yeah.
You're like Neo, but with cameras.
Whoa.
Whoa. Damn it. Friggin', we got jokes here. No. All right. So some of my hobbies.
We should have Keanu on.
Yeah, if only, dude.
Yeah.
Next theme, Keanu Reeves ponies.
Yes.
Okay. My hobbies.
Sitting on a bench.
I think one of my like kind of biggest hobbies like that I do off and on that I'm gonna go do after this actually is Magic the Gathering. I've talked a lot about that. I really enjoy that, but mainly because it keeps me in like a community of friends and like people I know. And then like I enjoy it and enjoy the collecting as well. And so collecting is also a hobby of mine, and I collect a lot of different things. I enjoy hiking. I enjoy rock hounding. I enjoy drawing. It's kind of like a love-hate hobby. Like I'm just kind of like listing off hobbies and things I enjoy.
Yeah.
Podcasting is the hobby.
Oh my gosh, he is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, we played Magic together. I was terrible because I haven't really played it.
Yeah.
I've never played it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah,
Well, like,
it is.
gaming's kind of just like a general hobby for me, right? So it's like I like computer gaming and other things like that. And then
Board
like
games.
also board games, not so much. I haven't found board games that I really enjoy, but just like Magic is kind of just the only kind of like tabletop or card game that I like. That and Ascension, I found I enjoy those.
Yeah, we tried to play that.
But it's another kind of like deck building game that feels very close to Magic for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What about the Pokemon card game?
Yeah.
Do I enjoy Pokemon, or is that a question?
Yeah, the card game.
Oh, I've played it, but I don't really care too much for it.
How about
I just kind of like
Twilight's-
I don't like the rules and how it's like laid out.
Yeah.
Twilight Secret Chip Fic folder.
Yes.
That's fun. But it feels like a little too I don't know.
Novice?
Not novice, just like kind of like free flowing. Like some card games are
Yeah.
just like they're very free and they're just like here's like kind of the base rules and then just like go at it. Where like it's a very casual card game, you know? It's like playing like sitting down and playing like Cards Against Humanity or like Apples to Apples. Like the rules are based like strictly off what you deem them, you know? What makes you giggle or what you feel is the best answer kind of thing. Where Twilight Secret Ship Fic has like areas like that sort of.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But it's cool. It's a really cool game, mind you.
Sure.
I guess it's on to me then, huh? I mean, not so much in the past, but more so now. I like playing games. Like I never used to really be into that, but now I sort of kind of am.
So are you a squid or a kid?
I'm a
You're
squid.
kid now. You're squid now.
I have been playing far too much of that game, like since it came out.
Yeah.
Like far too much. Both Silver and I use the same account. I also have in the past, not so much now, but I would like to get back into it, making like a model aircraft and model cars and stuff.
Cool.
I used to do heaps of that when I was younger.
Yeah, I
like-
slightly enjoy like you know what is it, figurines, like Warhammer figurines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I liked the putting them together part and then like looking at them part, but not the painting them part because that's
See,
very
I like
very
I like
arduous.
the both. I like the putting together and the painting. And then just before I sort of stopped doing it, I got real creative and I started putting like LEDs and making stands for them and stuff.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
fancy. Yeah. I one thing I'm proud of is I made this giant Tyranid Warhammer 40k model and I put magnets in it so you could like switch its head and like its weapons out and stuff. I was proud of that.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. Have you dabbled in like RC planes and cars and stuff, or just like little models?
Not really, because it's so expensive to get into. But I feel
Yeah.
like once I get older and I have a bunch of money, that's something I could really, really get into.
Yeah, because that's really cool. And then you can you can deck out your planes and stuff.
Yeah, and like paint them and stuff.
Yeah. Or you could give them to Byrne to paint them because he loves that.
Yeah, he does.
Coloring and painting, man. Ugh. It's like I like what they look like after, and like I'm proud of it. But like the process of doing it, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something relaxing, kind of like doing something that takes like more time. Like painting figurines or even like sitting down to draw. That's like sometimes I enjoy it, but sometimes it's just a little bit too mundane. Maybe that's a harsh term.
It's so therapeutic. It's just sit there and do it without thinking too much.
Yeah.
You
And
have-
so
you have to
sometimes
be
I
in-
like doing those therapeutic activities, but in other times I like doing something a little bit more engaging, like actually like a fast-paced game or something like that,
Yeah. You have to be in the right mood to do it, I think.
It's why I enjoy Magic, because it is very kind of like slow and methodical, but it's also very engaging,
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess like depends on your mood, depends what you like. So if I'm in the mood for playing something fast, I'll play Splatoon. If I'm not, I'll play Limbo, which I've just recently gotten stuck.
Oh, yeah.
like if I want to do something fast, I'll play like League of Legends or CS:GO, and then if I want something slower, I'll sit down and play like Skyrim. We're talking computer games or something like that.
Yeah.
An adventure game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
go for it.
Rocks? By me.
Rocks?
Rocks?
Question mark. This question came to be because we were talking about rocks in an intro that we messed up at the beginning of this episode. And
Yeah, sorry guys.
we all like kind of geology and rock based things. So we thought like, what's your favorite rock would be a good question.
Yeah. So
Boulder.
The boulder. Okay,
I was
Maud.
hungry.
Uh,
I like amethyst. I think when I get older and can afford it, I want a big chunk of amethyst,
Very good.
like in
Yeah.
a rock,
I know.
in my house.
Bern, you were talking about like the geodes that you have.
Yeah.
That
That you gotta send me, right?
Yeah.
Wish. We have a lot of real cool mineral samples and stuff around my house. So I mentioned just now that one of my hobbies was rock hounding and rock collecting. So my father and I have a lot of really cool like rocks, minerals, and crystals around. And my father really likes geodes. And so like we have some really cool like amethyst geodes and other things, which was kind of neat because like that's Joel's favorite kind of crystal. And so like I was mentioning that I like a lot of different colored like quartz. Like you see cheesy like dyed quartz now and then, but like actual like real colored quartz ends up being really cool.
rose
So like
quartz and
amethyst and rose quartz. And then you can find like shades of green quartz too. And then you start finding stuff like calcite as well, which I have little chunks of, which is it's not quartz, it's technically different. It's different material, but it grows in like rectangles that are skewed. So instead of growing like in a straight like square rectangle, it grows at like a diagonal angle rectangle. That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
There's a place not far from here called Thunder Egg Park, and there's an actual like legit mine that you can go to, and like take a little pickaxe and a little bucket, and you can dig up rocks that may or may not be a geode.
Yeah,
Thunder
that's
Egg.
cool. Yeah.
And me and Silver did that. We didn't find it. We found a couple of cool things actually.
That's actually really fun. There's a place here in Oregon where you can do that as well. It's called like Thunder Egg something, but they have some really, really cool stuff. My father and I actually found a butt ton of geodes, and we have this huge box that weighs a bajillion pounds.
Nice.
We didn't find any geodes, but we did find a cool Thunder Eggs.
Yeah.
Some cool stuff, yeah. No, I always like doing that.
It was really, really hot though, so we didn't spend too much time there.
Do you have a favorite rock, Ted?
I'm not really sure. I like obsidian, like actual obsidian that you get from like volcanoes and stuff. Because it's shiny and like
The fact that it's like actual glass is pretty nifty too, right?
yeah,
That's really cool, yeah.
I
I like lapis lazuli as well.
Yeah, that's cool,
Lapis lazuli.
especially in Minecraft. It's so useful.
Yeah,
Well, it is now.
there's something real cool here in Oregon. I think it's in a lot of places, not just an Oregon thing. But there's different types of obsidian as well, and so there's fire obsidian, which is obsidian that has veins of red in it, that come from, I believe, iron that is in the magma that it's formed in, and so you get these like black and red kind of like flowing glass. That's we have some chunks of it. That's really, really cool.
That's neat.
But anywho, my answer for my favorite rock is it's called chalcocite, and it's an what is it called? It's a copper alloy, so like it's like a copper mineral, and it's like 90% copper, or like some percent of copper. It varies between like 60 and 90% copper, and then like 10 or 40% sulfur, and like a bunch of other random junk. But it's this very black looking stone that or like metal-ish stuff. And I really like it because I have a sentimental attachment to it from my childhood. Because if you remember that trip went to Alaska I went to a little while ago, we went to my cabin in Kennecott McCarthy, and it's one of the like 2 copper ore deposit mines in like the entire world from like the 1930s, and they would mine chalcocite, chalcocite, and so like it's a cool rock because it's very rare and you don't find it hardly anywhere, and it's so rich of a form of copper that in the 1930s they tried to remine it in like the 1950s, and then there's not actually smelteries that existed in the 1950s or even in current day that can actually handle that high of a content of copper, because the copper that you get everywhere nowadays currently in modern society comes from like 2 to 3% copper deposits of like sand or other things. So it's like I don't know, it's kind of just has a cool history to it. Then at that, and I grew up with it at my cabin.
Yeah.
But anywho, my favorite part about it though is on the outside of calcasite, azurite and malachite grow, and it's this real bright blue and bright green oxidation that kind of like has crystals sometimes and junk, and it's just really pretty, and I like the colors of it, like bright blue and green. And I have a chunk of it here I'm playing with that I just found on my trip to Alaska, and it's a real cool rock. I might give you a picture of it. And then I have a split open chunk of calcasite that I chunked with a rock hammer, and it has calcasite inside of it, and then it's filled with veins of the green oxidation malachite, and it's super spacey looking, and it's cool.
That's really cool.
I like rocks.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Queensland, which is where I'm from, is like world famous for opals.
Yeah, I was going to mention that as well. There's some really cool places you can get opals in Australia. You can go dig your own. Something we've also done.
Like the Thunderegg place, but
something we've also done here in Oregon is we went looking for sunstone, which is like a very yellow gemstone. It's very cool stuff. But opals are super pretty, dude. You should go mine some opals with silver.
Do it. We'll exchange.
Yeah,
we'll get you
I'll trade you
amethyst.
some. Yeah, trade you some of my amethyst geodes.
Yeah. All right, we do need to move on because we are running up on time.
Yeah.
So let's do the plugs first, and then we'll talk briefly about the panel again, and then that'll be it.
All right, so we have a Cutie Art Crusaders Picado channel. Go to Google and type that in. We have cutieartcrusaders.deviantart.com. cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com is their email address for sending in questions. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. youtube.com/cutieartcrusaders, cutieartcrusaders.tumblr.com, facebook.com/cutieartcrusaders, and at cutieartcrusaders on Twitter.
Yay. That was quick.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. So, we do have a panel at BronyCon, which is approaching quicker than, we had initially expected, I guess. So much hype. As of the time of this recording, it's 2 weeks away, basically. Minus 12 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be less than a week away when this episode airs. So if you are watching this and if you are going to BronyCon, we do have a panel
Please say
on
hi to me.
Saturday at 4:15 in the Hall of the Moon. It is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be talking artsy things. We're going to be talking podcast things. We're going to be just generally talking.
I'll be rambling.
Yeah, we'll talk about rocks if you want to talk about rocks.
I'm straight.
Yeah.
Can I be giant on like a projector? And look down on everyone?
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes.
Be
we're
like,
gonna try
Rangers, I've assembled you.
We're gonna try and Skype with Joel so that he can be there too. We'll see.
I'll be like the Wizard of Oz. Be like,
Yeah.
who dares we?
Yeah. We are gonna talk a lot about analyzing art, how we do it, what we do to choose art, how we run the podcast a little bit. And then there's going to be a big questions and answers section. And if you ask us good questions, then we have some prizes. So we have 3 right now. One is going to be a guest on the Cutie Art Crusaders. So you can be on this show right here. Not right now, but in the future. The second one is a $30 commission from Celebi Yoshi, which is really awesome. Thank you so much, Celebi Yoshi or Dawnfire.
Yeah, that's really generous of her.
Yeah. And we also have a commission from Burned, our resident sketch artist.
I'm not as good as Celebi Yoshi, but I can draw things. I'll draw you something, either traditionally there at the con and hand it to you, or I'll do it online.
Yeah, so it's like a $29 sketch commission.
Yeah, $1 less than Celebi.
Yeah. And that's what we have right now. We may end up getting more. I don't know. We'll see. The be a guest on CAC.
Go to the con and then see. Ooh.
Yeah, and the be a guest on CAC might be open to more than one person. I don't know.
We'll see.
Can I be the guest?
You already are a guest.
No, you're not allowed on the show, Joel.
Well, in fact, what are you doing here right now?
Get out.
Oh no, stay. Yeah. So if you're not going to BronyCon, or if you just so happen to miss the panel because something was more important than us, I don't know what could be more important than us, but we will be recording it. We will be posting it up live or on our YouTube channel. I want to try and stream it, but our internet might not be that great from the convention hall because we don't actually get convention internet. We'd have to go through a hotspot, and we'll see. But
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yep. So that's I think that's everything.
If you're on Cardo or the YouTube, I love you all the same.
Yeah, Max will be back next week, so we won't be like stuck in the outro.
If we're talking like this,
yeah. All right.
We should get him to record a video like now.
Oh, no,
and put it up on our YouTube channel.
Poor guy. All right. Without further ado, thank you all for watching. Whether or not you're on Picardo or on YouTube, we love you all the same. My name is FlutterGuy317.
My name is Burn01.
I'm Atmospark. Don't have a number.
And we'll see you all next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Guys, I finished my recording this time. I made it.